Welcome back to the next video. In this video, we can see few minor things that we can do as part of your resume, in addition to what we have seen as part of a couple of previous videos. In the beginning of the resume, before you start with the work summary, we can add here before the work summary a quick introduction or like what is your objective, etc., so that the recruiter can have a quick glimpse of what is your stronger areas or what is your experience in before he or she is gonna look further into your resume. What we can do is we can just copy this here and paste it on the top. We can say this is your objective or introduction. 5+ years of experience in testing and development combined, including framework development. Also, we can add here the domains you have worked in, something like experienced in e-commerce, banking, and payments domains. This is not something strict, you need to add it in the same lines, but you can add something else like what are you up to and what are your stronger areas. This can be completely different. Everyone has different resumes, everyone's stronger areas are different, everyone's selling point are different. Some people will have certifications that you want to mention here, like you are a certified engineer, or some other candidates might have in-depth experience in some specific domains that you want to highlight here. So this is not something strict, but you can really think about what is your selling point and what are your stronger areas, how your resume is different from a lot of resumes out there, and you can basically highlight that. The years of experience I have mentioned here, so that I'll take it off here. So you can keep it short here, like a quick introduction, and then you can mention here what is your objective, like looking for a lead or senior positions or something like that. So what happens is that before the recruiter has to go through all these lengthy resume and make a decision, he or she will look into this objective and they can basically relate you to the job requirement, because the job requirement might be saying like a senior position or something like this is the domain experience we are looking for, or the requirement might say the candidate needs to have some prior development experience, something like that. So if you keep here whatever your strengths are or whatever your unique areas or domains or expertise, this is going to really help and might help the recruiter in making a decision. All right. Moving now to the technical skills. You know that this is your skill matrix and this is where you have mentioned all your skills. One other important thing here is your resume should be SEO friendly. SEO stands for search engine optimization. You need to make sure you keep all the right words or technologies that you need to have as part of whatever the job role you are trying to apply for. You need to make sure you don't have any spelling mistakes or typos here. If you keep something like this, if the recruiters are searching for candidates with Selenium WebDriver, the search engine might not consider this as Selenium WebDriver. You need to make sure you have the right words here without any typos. Of course, we have mentioned these kind of technologies in the projects as well. Hence, you need to make sure you don't have any typos wherever you mention those. One other thing you need to consider is that when you create a profile in job portals like monster.com or LinkedIn and upload your resume, apart from the skill matrix, whatever you have here, those job portals will again ask you to fill in your technical skills on the web page separately. And that is really important too. What I'm saying is they may or may not take from the skill matrix here. You need to separately enter whatever your skills here you have listed. You need to separately enter them on their web page like LinkedIn or monster.com. On their portals, you need to update your skills. Because when the recruiters are running a search on those job portals, the search engines may look for the candidate profiles with those skills or technologies that are being listed on their portal. Hence, make sure when you upload your resume to any portals, make sure you fill out their technical section part as well. And one last thing about the technical skill set is that In the job requirement, sometimes there can be like non-technical skills like Jira or Eclipse. You might think Jira or Eclipse are not that technical and you may or may not really bother about putting them here. If you look at this matrix here, I don't have Jira or Eclipse here. But what happens is that search engines try to match the job skill set, whatever is mentioned as part of the job requirement, to your resume. Hence, you need to make sure those kind of things are also listed in your resume. They need not be listed right here. What you can do is, at least in your environment, in your project environment, make sure you try to mention those like Jira, and the other thing I mentioned is Eclipse. If you think something is not technical, but if you browse through some of the job requirements, you do see these kind of things and maybe more. You might think they are non-technical and you might skip putting them in your resume, like Agile or Scrum or Jira or Eclipse, something like this. Try to make sure you cover all those keywords so that your resume is search engine friendly. Even in the profile on their web portals, try to add these kind of things. That will help the search engine put your resume on the top before others. Next thing I want to talk about is in the projects towards the end of your resume. I have mentioned previously that interviewers may or may not really focus on the last projects. The projects towards the end of the resume. That is true. They most of the time focus on only the current project or the recent project to drill through or to ask the questions about. But remember that folks, they might ask one or two questions on your like older projects. For example, if they see some things say for example SAS Labs and SQL Server or some things I have put in this particular last project, but I did not put in the projects above. If the interviewer is interested in a specific technology or tool or platform that you have worked as part of your previous projects, and if he or she did not see it as part of your recent projects, they might ask you like what you have especially done as part of that tool or platform. Hence, please make sure you go through your resume perfectly and you need to read through each and every word and sentence that you have put as part of your own resume. The reason I'm telling you this is when you go to an interview, the interview reads through your resume, and if he or she asks you a question from your own resume, and if you did not read through your resume and prepare well or memorize the things that you have done in the past, you will be really stumbled and you will be caught off guard. You don't know what to answer because he or she is asking something from your own resume and you cannot answer that. So it will be really embarrassing situation. Hence, make sure you go through each and every point that you have put in your own resume, because this is something you have sent them in the first place. Hence, you need to make sure you know everything that you have put in your resume before you try to market the resume. That was the last thing, guys, and I think I have covered pretty much what I wanted to talk as part of this video. With that, guys, as I was telling you in my previous videos as well, this is not a strict template. Your resume can be completely different in terms of the template you are using to display your technical skills and projects, and also your projects can be completely different or your technical skills can be completely different. You might have a bit more or a bit less technical skills here, or they can be different as well. That doesn't really matter. What matters is what we have discussed so far, like credibility is important, programming skills are important, and search engine optimization is important. These things are something you need to really take care of. Also, in the work summary or responsibilities, you use the words like solid experience or expert. Make sure you use the right words here. When you say solid experience, the interviewer expects that you have worked in depth in those particular technologies. If you are just familiar with something, you can start with familiar with this tool or technology, so that if something is asked in the interview, you can say you are just familiar, that you didn't really work in depth. So make sure you use the right wording. And also, as we just discussed in the last, make sure you read your resume thoroughly before you try to market your resume. That is all, folks, as part of this video and as part of your resume preparation so far. We'll talk about the interview and interview process in the next video.